All right, we're continuing on with our series of art and symbols in St. John's, and we are finishing up the 12 apostles, well, 13 depending on how you count them, and we'll get into that in a little bit too. So the last two that we're looking at are St. Andrew and St. Bartholomew. So behind me here we have St. Andrew, and you'll see in his hand he's got like a harpoon. And that comes from the fact that he was a fisherman. He is one of the sons of Zebedee, there's James and John who are sons of Zebedee. They were two of the fishermen. And then you had Andrew and Peter, who were brothers, and they were also fishermen. So Jesus had a lot of fishermen around him, and he's one of them. And then heading over here, a little bit here. We have St. Bartholomew, and if you see his symbol at the bottom here, there is a book and then there is a sort of knife. And the book is said because he apparently loved the Word of God very much. I would assume that the other ones did as well, but he's the only one that gets a book to show how much he loved the Word of God. The other is that knife is a flaying knife. Because according to church tradition, St. Bartholomew was martyred by being flayed alive, so not very pleasant there. One other thing, if you have been keeping track, you probably have noticed that there are 11 apostles that have been put up in stained glass in our church. That means that we are missing 2, 3, depending on how it counts. Because there's 12 apostles, but then you get an extra one for Paul. He's sort of that late edition apostle. And then on top of all of that, you have Judas who kills himself, and then Matthias takes his place. So if you do all the math, then that means in total there should be 14. But Judas doesn't usually end up with his own stained glass. That's not unusual here. But we are still missing 2. We're missing, if you remember, we talked about St. James Major. That implies that there's a St. James Minor, and there was another St. James. And then the other one that we're missing is Matthias. So after Judas dies, the disciples decide to replenish their ranks and get up to 12 apostles again. And so they cast lots until they end up with Matthias, who joins in as the 12th apostle. So we're missing Matthias and we're missing James the Lesser, which is a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. So we'll continue on with some more stained glass next week.